Hi, my name is Bob Litchfield, and I want to talk to you for a few minutes today about passion and about fire and about your choice of fire. Now, I love passionate people. I think it takes passionate people to get anything done in the world. I think if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you really might as well not do it in most cases, because you're not going to do it well and you may not get it done. So I'm a big believer in passion, and I'm a big fan of passionate people. But you got to be a little bit careful with passion, because there's all kinds of passion and there's all kinds of ways to express passion, and not all of them are constructive and creative and productive. Some of them are harmful. So let's take a look at two of my all-time favorite writers, Thomas Wolfe and George Bernard Shaw, and a couple of their famous quotes where they express passion in two very different ways. First, let's take Thomas Wolfe, perhaps a bit cynical, a classic angry young man, one of the great writers of the Depression era in America, and in the introduction to what I think is his greatest novel, You Can't Go Home Again, he says this: "There came to him an image of man's whole life upon the earth. It seemed to him that all man's life was like a tiny spurt of flame that blazed out briefly in an illimitable and terrifying darkness, and that all man's grandeur, tragic dignity, his heroic glory came from the brevity and smallness of his flame. He knew his life was little and would be extinguished, and that only darkness was immense and everlasting. And he knew that he would die with defiance on his lips, and that the shout of his denial would ring with the last pulsing of his heart into the maw of all-engulfing night." Thomas Wolfe in the introduction to You Can't Go Home Again. Kind of depressing stuff, wouldn't you say? That raging at your own impotence. He knew that his flame was small and would be extinguished, and the defiance of his denial would ring with the last pulsing of his heart into the maw of the all-engulfing night. Angry, cynical stuff. Not going to be very encouraging to anybody in the world, including you, if that's the way you allow yourself to think, if that's the way you allow yourself to express your passion in the world. Now let's take a look at another view of fire from George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw said this: "This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch which I've got to hold up for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations." So you got two alternative views of fire and passion there. And which one you choose is incredibly important. It may determine the quality of your whole life. It may determine the quality of the lives of the people around you that you love. Do you want to be an angry young man like Thomas Wolfe and spend your life screaming about the brevity of your flame? Or do you want to look at it like George Bernard Shaw and say, hey, maybe my flame is small, but by God, I'm going to make it burn as brightly as I possibly can before I hand it on to someone else, to future generations. Choose your fire wisely, my dear passionate friends. Let your light burn as brightly as possible. Be thoroughly used up when you die. Remember that you do belong to the whole community, and give to it everything that you possibly can for as long as you can. And your life will be rich and blessed, I guarantee it. God bless you. I love you. Goodbye.